What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Exxon here, back with you with another video on crypto and distributed ledger technology. Hope you guys are having a good one. Before we get into it, nothing on this channel is financially advised by any means, all speculation and for educational purposes only. Today, we're going to be looking into NATO and DARPA and what they're doing with distributed ledger technology and some of the projects they've been working with, right? So, without further ado, uh, let's get into it. So, you can see this article was back in 2016 before, you know, we could see all the stuff unfolding that's unfolding now with NATO and DARPA and stuff like that, right? So, you had the DARPA, NATO looking at military applications of blockchain technology, right? DARPA wants to Okay, let's start. Both the Defense Advanced Projects Agency (DARPA) of the U.S. Department of Defense and NATO have put out requests for military-related apps built on blockchain technology. DARPA wants to leverage blockchain technology to create a secure messaging service. The request for proposals titled Secure Messaging Platform and listed under the Small Business Innovation Research SBIR, which is a Small Business Innovation Research Program, targets a messaging platform able to transfer messages via a secure decentralized protocol that will be secure across multiple channels, including but not limited to transport protocol, encryption messages via various applications, protocols, customized blockchain implementation of message and reconstruction, and decentralized ledger implementation, which is your distributed ledger, blockchain, all those stuff, right? And I'll drop the link for this article in the description, right? So, you know, I'm gonna skip through and just go to the main parts on what's really going on here because it looks like they're working with Quant and stuff like that, right? I know they're also working with DAG, right? And I never opened that part as yet. Maybe another time I will get into that part with DAG and what they're doing with Constellation Network. But just for the purpose of this one, they're just working with Quant and Multichain, and I'll get into that soon. Since the project's phase one is intended to leverage an existing blockchain implementation, it's interesting to note that the project's documentation makes explicit reference to the Linux Foundation's Hyperledger project, a collaborative effort started in December to develop an open distributed ledger platform that will satisfy a variety of cases across multiple industries, supported by high-profile cross-industry players such as IBM, Intel, Accenture. All of these companies, they work XLM, XRP. I've showed you IBM is working with another one on my previous video that I've done a while back, a Stronghold, and what IBM is doing with them. And then, Intel is going to be more for the quantum computing stuff. You have Accenture, they're working with the, RockleNet, XRPL, and doing most of the compliance stuff, right? As you can see, as well as several banks and financial services firms. The Hyperledger project has acquired a momentum that seems difficult to stop, right? Uh, then we get into the Hyperledger stuff. That ain't supposed to happen. Yeah, so just a rundown on what this is: the Hyperledger Foundation. So and it tells you the Hyperledger fabric is intended as a foundation for developing applications. I'll stop right there. And I'll put this in the description as well. Just some of the things they're working with. Walmart, they have some case studies. probably working with some of these companies as well. Right, and then when I say Quant and Hyperledger, this is where I come to is this part in Hyperledger's foundation, right? So, Quant Network, as you see, we are honored to join Hyperledger and the Linux Foundation to contribute to an open source software and provide domain expertise. We see the immense value of collaborating to bring mass adoption for blockchain technology and contributing with our Overledger operating system, which helps unlock the potential of blockchain technology by addressing keyword here, interoperability. Besides XRP, Quant is one of the largest other networks with that word is pushed out a lot. Interoperability. If you look at through the whole, you go on Quant's website, white papers, whatever it is, you will see this verb thrown out a lot on that paper or on the site, right? Between blockchains as well as existing networks, right? Our work is driven by the belief that collaboration makes the blockchain ecosystem stronger, which is the majority of our code. We believe it is crucial to support the development of distributed ledger technology, solutions, and hyperledger projects for enterprises and developers. We are excited to join this community to both contribute and help customers and users around the world benefit from this transformational technology, right? And this is, I don't know why I had to talk. You could, because you are recovered quant, so I didn't have to go into the whole interoperability thing. But when a lot of people have different concepts when it comes to this word, but there's a lot of things that they're doing with the quant network that you know we gotta look into, right? Uh, so that so we covered what they're doing with quant, and right, just to come to the white paper of does NATO need a blockchain, and is we'll do the introduction here, right? So distributed ledgers, more commonly known as blockchains, have recently gained a lot of attention as possible solution for various applications requiring distributed trust management. And obvious questions is to what extent and what context distributed ledgers can be useful for NATO operations. In this paper, we present some of the proposed uses of blockchain technology in military applications and discuss its appli- applicability to the NATO environment. In particular, we build on discussions presented in order to investigate suitability of blockchains for solving practical problems encountered in military operations. I'll stop right there. Uh, like you know what's going on with this, right? Uh, what I want to get down to is some stuff. They do mention 51% attacks and stuff here. Doesn't really happen with DLT technology because of nodes and stuff like that. It's not easy to do that, right? Or where I want to get it to and just touch on what is mentioned in this NATO document. And it's most towards the bottom here. So towards right to the end, right? They say we have discussed advantages and disadvantages of distributed ledger and blockchain technologies in the context of NATO operations and have introduced several possible scenarios for use of these technologies within NATO communications and information systems, CIS, right? We have analyzed in detail a specific use case related to implementation of blockchain-based detached binding mechanism with and then there's these codes, right? We have also compared suitability of several existing DL solutions to support the application and have included that multi-chain, which you have multi-chain and Hyperledger, right? So I showed you Hyperledger is working with Quant keyboard, and you have multi-chain. And have you seen what multi-chain is, right? So let's look into multi-chain, right? As you can see, cross-chain protocol, uh, tying up stuff. They have a lot of supported chains that, you know, initially the NATO, which is interesting, right? When it comes to this, and if you've been paying attention, I think we're almost like 6 months into it now, right? This is what happened like 5 or 6 months ago. Okay, yeah, that's like 2 months ago. What are we now? May? Yes, March, right? 22. Uh, comes back to this. Uh, yeah, multi-chain is supporting XRP ledger for cross-chain connection with EVM and non-EVM compliant blockchains. The reason it's always gonna come back, even if you hate it, or not, whatever the case, it's always tying back into the XRPL and everything tying up to it. You can literally see NATO, Bank of Canada is using XRPL, presidents sketchy and stuff like that. They have RippleNet, and he's also doing the whole NATO thing. As you know, we've seen him in Ukraine, so that's one part of it. Then you have, let's see what also interesting, the New York mayor being on the stage with Brad Garlinghouse. Everything in like a lot of things revolve around the state of New York with exchanges and a whole lot of stuff, right? So that's another one. There's multiple countries, there's multiple patents, showing what they're doing with the XRP ledger, right? So yeah, so it's very interesting that they did this integration in March, and you can see that NATO is gonna definitely have the ties into these stuff as well, because because you got the IMF and all those guys, in place with all these people. And then they talk about, let's just get a rundown of what multi-chain is. Right, so multi-chain was born on AnySwap on the 20th of July 2020 to service the clear needs of different and diverse blockchains to communicate with each other at cross-chain infrastructure. Multi-chain facilitates interoperability across different networks and enables seamless transfers of assets and values with a constantly growing family of non-EVM and EVM chains. Now, 39 multi-chain is the leader in the cross-chain field. So, non-EVM and EVM, which is interesting. Besides them being on that, I think they could do another integration with XDC. And how that plays out, we'll determine that in the upcoming months, and that's just speculation. And then you can check this out. They talk about Ripple and the XRP ledger, right? So you can check this article out. And then we're gonna come into NATO and some other stuff that I've found, right, that might be of interest. So the former head of NATO joins blockchain project. Anders Fogh Rasmussen, former Secretary General of North Atlantic Treaty Organization and former Prime Minister of Denmark, has joined blockchain project Concordium, right, which is another interesting project that they've taken out. So Bruh, NATO has, let's call it red. What do we see? Multichain, Hyperledger, Quant, there's DAG, and I will share that some other time. And now you have Concordium, right? And there's some other plays in the book, but you can see what's happening here, right? With these few multi-chain, XRPL getting tied in. Like if you connect the dots, right? And it's, I mean, is the former NATO secretary, right? But I mean, it's still something to pay attention to because Nero is in the space and we don't know if he still has connections with them. You know, once you in it's like saying once NSA, always NSA. So once FBI, always FBI. So with this guy it's the same thing, once NATO, probably always NATO. So you gotta pay attention to this small stuff that's happening, and this was in 2019. So Concordium has been around for a while with this guy. So now that the NATO news is coming out, but they were always prepared. You see, and then it says, please to announce I'll be working with Lucia and Concordium Net as they develop the next generation blockchain solutions. I believe we have only begun to see the benefits of blockchain, including democratic processes. Right, so let's go into Concordium and see what they are. So I'll put this website in the description so you can, check it out. It's a very interesting website. It's the only layer one blockchain with built-in ID framework. Sounds very interesting. ID blockchain with built-in ID framework. I know my friends in Canada. I like you guys, but there's some sketchy stuff that's happening there. And we know that president's creepy and he's doing stuff with Nero. I don't know if I could say that, but I just did, right? Or because I've seen what he's doing. So with NATO and stuff doing this, they're trying to come up and push the digital ID. Could be one of those things, but it is an interesting project on what they're working. But you can see they're literally saying they're working on ID built in, so privacy-centric public blockchain. Concordium's decentralized blockchain technology is first with layer 1 built into the protocol. This means it offers forward-thinking businesses, applications, and cryptocurrency traders unrivaled security, privacy, transparency, and most important, compliance with regulations. Right? If and when these come through, and then confidentiality and accountability are the cornerstones of Concordium. You're working with NATO, bro. I don't know when it comes to that confidentiality and accountability. Yes, they have that type of confidential stuff that's going on, right? So that's what's going on here, and that's just my perspective on it because they could, do much more. A high performing distributed execution environment for everyone. And right, let's see what's the main thing here about the use case of Concordium. The Concordium blockchain offers a distributed execution platform to various ecosystems so participants can replace legacy platforms with digitized, automated, and intermediary free interactions. Ecosystems become more transparent and markets become more efficient by transacting securely on the distributed ledger using programmable settlements. And they actually have a wallet. Wow, okay. Let's see what this is like. I'm not going to download it. I just want to see what it looks like. Okay. To be able to sign and send transactions using disk, you need a Ledger Nano S hardware wallet, and you need to install the Concordium. Okay, so they tell you that. So they do have a Windows. Right, so this is interesting. But see, you need a ledger to do it, so it's because it's more ID based and stuff like that, right? Which is interesting. Let's look into the token a bit. The Concordium token, right? The CCD is the native token of the Concordium blockchain. Fundamentally, the CDC serves to pay for the network fees. These fees are earned by the validated nodes, bakers, and finalizers to process transactions and secure the network. Bakers must stake CCD amounts to take part in consensus. The powers the CCD powers the vibrant use case ecosystem of Concordium, especially DeFi, as it serves as collateral and settlement medium. Ultimately, the governance of Concordium blockchain will be decentralized with an on-chain voting power belonging to CCD holders. I need to watch how I say that because I can mispronounce that to a familiar word that we all used to. So it's interesting, right? So always when it comes to this stuff and like NATO, US and those kind of things, it always comes back to what the government is doing and stuff like that. And you can see when I talk about these integrations, and you can check up how many stuff is on these government sites when it comes to your friend right here. So that's why I pay attention to a lot of stuff that they're doing that could tie into this right here. So yeah, now let's look at the price of some of these tokens. Maybe then I'm gonna end it off. So we're looking to multi-chain first, right? $7.84. Well, not bad. It's good. Then I'm gonna come back to Concordium. Seems like a very interesting token. I mean, I've been paying attention to it for a while. It's sitting at 2 cents. It's not bad. That's a good buy. That's a good buy. Then we're gonna go to Quant. Quant's I know is pretty $73. Yeah, but I think Quant is still a good steal from where it previously was. Its price. What was its all-time high? I think it hit like 5. See, its all-time high was $428. So getting it at $73, I mean, even if it's one, is good. Yeah, it's a pretty good move. Quant's gonna be a big play in this market with what it's doing and stuff like that. And then also gotta check this one as well, just because it's part of it and we're not looking into it today. But they're doing stuff with the military which ties into NATO, right? So 11 cents for DAG. It's not bad. Then the rest of the market, as you can see, back XRP is 43 cents. Oh, you have your Cardano at 58 cents. Polkadot's $11. Alright, and you have XLM at 13 cents. Algorand's 49. Monero is 174. Yeah, and then one of another hidden gems to pay attention to is Adera Hashgraph. 10 cents at the moment. Also doing a lot of stuff here down in Africa as well, and also doing stuff with the military. Could also be part of NATO. Uh, just saying that because I think they're doing work with DAG as well. So they're probably doing stuff with those guys. So just a few projects to check out and stuff like that. So without a further ado, I hope you guys have a good day. I'm out. I'll catch you on another one.